Shalom. Welcome to the Jewish View. My name is Rabbi Nachman Simon with the Chabad House of Delmar, together with my co-host, Mark Veronich of Statewide News Service, jbiztechvalley.com. And as you can see, he's columnist for the Jewish Press.
Right, I have a column called the Albany Beat, which talks about how government relates to the Jewish community, or doesn't, as the case may be. And this week's column is about how the state is indifferent to kosher food needs at public venues such as the New York State Fair and the Saratoga Race Course. And it should be, and I advocate for them to get on the stick and to get some kosher food in the in these state venues. So hopefully that'll work. Hopefully
And
something
who do we
will
have
happen.
today, though?
Okay, who do we have today? Well, we have two very special guests, two of my favorite people in the Jewish community. Adam Selsley, he's the Scoutmaster for the Jewish Boy Scouts of in this area, Troop 18, Troop 33.
Troop 33.
And then we have Jesse Weinstock, who's the Cub Master of Pack 18,
Yes.
18 Chai, all right, and you're both with the Twin Rivers Council.
Correct.
So that's the overall arch. And then there's another umbrella above Twin Rivers Council, which is like a Northeast Council.
From the Boy
So-
Scout standpoint, from the council, it goes to national. What you're thinking of is on the Jewish Committee on Scouting.
Okay.
There's a Northeast Regional Jewish Committee on Scouting, which is part of the National Jewish Committee on Scouting,
Okay.
which is kind of related to us only because we're a Jewish unit.
Right.
You know,
but-
usually we see that Jewish and Boy Scout or Cub Scouts to a lot of people are just maybe an oxymoron. You know, they don't think of Jews, and here you are, Jewish Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts. So how do you feel that the Jewish community works with the Boy Scouts? You know, people think it's like, oh, you're a Jewish person, a Cub Scouts, you go out to the woods, it's duty, you go to the Catskills, that's what you do. You don't go to the dig in the dirt. But what do you say?
I actually grew up in an Orthodox pack and troop out of Massachusetts.
Right.
And I found that all of the religious components of Judaism were very well respected growing up. And that's what we try to accomplish here with our pack and troop now, is we try and make sure that we teach the kids that are in our pack and troop about the scouting way of doing things while keeping a Jewish perspective on things.
Do you reach out to Hebrew Academy or Maimonides Hebrew Day Schools to see if the students there would want to become part of Scouts?
We tried in the past, yes.
And they are happy, or are they welcoming, or
Some kids are. I know that there's some of our kids have their own Cub group. I don't know.
We get, actually, a number of our kids come from both Hebrew Academy and also from Maimonides, but
Okay.
we're trying to market ourselves as a Jewish community unit.
So you're also looking for the unaffiliated?
Unaffiliated, plus or not going to the day schools, but are in the public schools.
Secular education?
Correct.
Right, okay.
So I
So,
see that you have a Jewish star on you. Is that an official part of a Boy Scout uniform, or you
Well,
just
the
threw it
patch.
on?
No, this patch actually comes from the Northeast Jewish Committee on Scouting. They have a conclave every year, and this was this past year's patch.
But that's part of in a way, part of the uniform.
Yes, this
You're
is
allowed-
part of the
you're not
uniform.
out of uniform wearing a Jewish
where was
star.
the conclave this year?
Was in the,
Say it on there? Okay.
It's
somewhere in the woods.
It's usually held in New Jersey or parts of New York. Alpine Scout Camp on the New Jersey-New York border is a common place to hold it, because the Northeast Regional Jewish Committee on Scouting encompasses basically all the way up to Maine
Right.
and down to D.C., Virginia, and so
It's a big area.
right.
Yeah.
So to try to capture as many of the leaders of the Jewish units, as well as council executives who want to learn a little bit about how to serve Jewish scouts, they tend to have the annual conference somewhere in the
Sure.
midpoint.
Makes sense.
I hope-
How many scouts are you talking about? How many attend?
For the
Conclave?
for the conclave, for the
Yeah.
conference, usually in terms of it's adult leaders in this case, and so you're talking typically 100+ leaders from all over the Northeast. It's a very well attended
Yeah.
event.
Now, I often see the Jewish Boy Scouts on Memorial Day parades and other Veterans Day parades.
Yes.
Correct.
And, that's pretty significant that you have your own section marching down Washington Avenue or Central or wherever they march, yeah, so,
Yep.
tell us some of the things that you do with the Scouts, that the Scouts do to get badges and,
I always like to say, what do you like to do? Because there's usually a badge or something out there to do that. That's kind of the heart of scouting. But as Jesse pointed out, we try to put a Jewish perspective on things. One of the elements of scouting is service. So when we do a service project, very often we'll go to Daughters of Sarah or to work with one of the synagogues. With our charter organization, which is Jewish War Vets Post 105,
right,
that's where we get involved a lot with making sure we putting flags out on the graves of the Jewish soldiers for Memorial Day, and we often march with them for the various
It's all
parades.
marked up, the Jewish graves, you know exactly where, because I know I've been, obviously as a rabbi, I go to the cemeteries, and I mean, I don't have a map of wherever, I see someone passed away or died or was killed in D-Day, I know, in one of the synagogues, but, do you have it all
They have-
documented?
The Jewish war vets have a map that they keep. May not be 100%, but we do our best to get out there and make sure they're remembered.
mm-hmm.
In addition to that, we do what scouts do. We camp, we hike, we cook.
Where do you hike? What do you like to? I mean, because I like hiking. And do you go to Camp Dippykill? Do you go up to the Adirondacks? Do you do Thatcher? What do you do?
It depends upon if it's to pack, we'll tend to stay a little closer to the region, go up to Thatcher Park
Or Five Rivers.
or Five
Five Rivers
Rivers
and Delaware-
and do some of the trails there. With the troop, since you've got the older boys, you can go out for a little longer time. In the recent past, we took a hike out to a snow hole on the Taconic Crest Trail. We've taken hikes on various trails up in the Adirondacks.
What's the age range for the Boy Scouts?
Boy Scouts is grades 6 through 12, so you're talking 11 through 18.
Mm-hmm.
For
That's they're pretty healthy at that age. They can get up the mountain. They got tons of energy, probably more than you and I have. So,
sometimes I'm not too bad.
how
for
many
my
years
age.
have you been doing this, Adam?
As a scout leader, this would be going into my 9th year.
And as involved with the Scouts altogether?
I got back involved when my oldest son was in 1st grade. He's going into 12th grade, so I guess that means 11 at this
years,
point.
yeah.
So, but I was a scout like Jesse when I was a kid for 7 years. I went from Cub Scouts on through up through Boy
You're
Scouts.
local, he's from Massachusetts.
I grew up in Massachusetts.
Yeah, all right.
I grew up outside of Pittsburgh, but I ended up in this area back for the first time attending RPI, and came back here in 2007 and have been here
Ever since?
ever since.
Okay. And I know that you had some of your meetings, maybe it's the executive board at Temple Israel. Is that where you have meetings, or was that just a coincidence that I just happened to see you there a couple of times?
Well, our main meeting spot is the Albany JCC
At the JWV room.
in the JWV room,
Right.
hence our
Because they're your sponsors.
Our sponsor. But we'll meet at other locations as needed and try to make it convenient for our members to get there, whether it's for an adult planning meeting or for a meeting for the youth. In
When you
fact,
say was Albany, are you taking in your troop only in Albany, or Schenectady, Troy, or?
Anybody?
Because I know that the, Jewish community is so scattered around the capital district.
I know we have scouts going all the way to Albany that are
Going.
coming to the JCC.
yeah.
I live in Colony,
Yeah.
Okay.
and we're not going to turn anybody away.
Right, right.
So
How far do they come? Are they from Columbia County? Do you reach out to all the synagogues? And
We haven't reached that far yet. We've had scouts from the Schenectady area for sure. Trying to reach out to we'd love to
Troy?
reach out to Troy and such.
Well, Berith Shalom in Troy has Sunday school. They do have younger students,
Yep.
involved. So maybe that's something that
There certainly are getting to be more opportunities
Yeah.
with some climate changes.
Okay.
Our limitation, a lot of times, it's not that we limit, it's more having parents, asking a parent to drive their son down to Albany for an hour-long meeting when it's an hour, they're an hour away and they've got homework is tough.
Right, uh-huh.
But if there's any youth out there who want to get involved but would prefer to do it with a Jewish unit as opposed to
A secular unit.
a secular
unit,
unit,
yeah.
that's why we're here.
Could you Skype them in to your meetings?
Scouting's very hands-on.
It's
Yeah.
very hands-on. Okay. Even for the meetings too.
That being said, though, as unit leaders, our job is to provide opportunities. We're not out there saying you got to be at every meeting
Right.
in order to play with us.
Okay.
It's the meetings are there as an opportunity to work on advancement, to get to know the kids, to know a bit what's going on. Unlike sports, where a coach will say, "You missed this practice, you're not playing."
Mm-hmm.
That's not how we work.
That's not your style.
No.
No. Okay.
So we'll provide an opportunity for a meeting, for an outing. If they can't make it, they can't make it. But
Yeah. Let me ask you, you have the Jewish Star and your Jewish leaders. What functions do you have in the meetings or activities? I mean, you say you help out, for example, that's good, but any on the hands day-to-day meetings, there's anything like the Jewish holidays, hey, Passover's coming.
Oh, absolutely. And
Speaking of Passover, we
Yeah,
have new
what do you
badges for Passover, and they even have the
Can
10
you show it
plagues.
to our viewers?
The 10 plagues.
I don't know if it'll
No,
show
that-
up.
I won't show
A
up
little
very well.
bit, all right, so they see something. Show again, maybe because it's close up, it'll be a little bit, you can see a little better, all right, you can see something.
Here, let me try to put it closer.
No, all right. We'll lift it up. Yeah,
Lift it up. Yeah, there you
But
go.
while he's
All right,
showing
whatever.
that's what Jesse was getting at is that we put a spin. We'll do similar things as a non-Jewish or a secular unit would do, but we put a Jewish spin on it. There are a lot of activities. One of the one for the Cubs. There's a what's called an achievement, or there was. They've made some slight changes, and I don't know if it's still is
Okay,
part of it. But
but,
the
yeah.
example is that it was called handicraft, and they needed to make puppets. Actually, it's showmen. Sorry, they needed to make puppets and put on a puppet show. So what I would do with the scouts at that is usually I would do that around Purim.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have them they would make their Esthers and their Mordechais, and they would put on a little Purim spiel. So it's a way so they would do the scout,
Right.
they would learn about the craft and how to make something, but then we would,
Incorporate into a Jewish idea, that's what I was asking, perfect,
And
exactly
if
that I
you-
was saying.
And if you were more of a Cecil B. DeMille, you would have the Passover and all the other puppets and and all the Jews coming to the sea and the sea
we're
opening.
we're ready for my close-up.
That's right.
that's what my Seder looks like anyways.
Oh, okay. So Jesse, tell me what you do and what the age range is for the folks in the Cub Scouts.
The Cub Scouts is Right now, it's first grade through sixth grade.
Okay, so it's 5 to 11 or 5 to 10 or
Yeah,
ages?
something
Yeah.
like that.
So that's
And
difficult. Those are difficult ages.
It's a very
They're not
diverse
focused.
age group.
They're not
we
focused
do
as
we
much.
do try and keep them in their own age groups. If as we grow the pack, we would like to separate out the different age groups so that they can work on their own advancement. Each age group, each grade has its own advancement set. So it's a lot more structured. The younger you are, the more structure there is. The Cub program actually just got totally rewritten this past year.
Oh, tell us about it.
I'm still learning about it, but
Tell us what you learned so far.
it's a lot more interactive and hands-on. The program previously had been a lot of talk about it with less go and do it, and now it's a lot more structure around build up to go do something. So you're going to go visit a TV studio. So you're going to learn about what makes a TV studio, and how all of that works.
You
Come to
can
our
bring them
TV
here
video,
anytime, yeah. You
Put them
can,
on the Jewish Jew over here.
We may take you up on
you
that.
can bring them here, a class trip or a scout trip here, that's for sure.
I'm sure we'd be happy to take you up on that.
Oh, great.
So that's excellent. I like that also hands-on. I always said that even in school, my kids are learning about the Revolutionary War. I says, what do you have to learn about it? Take them up to Saratoga, and
Show
you'll
'em.
relive it,
Yeah.
and they'll remember it better. They'll live it. They'll feel for it. So I'm always an advocate. Judaism is like that also in general, just hands-on and do it and
Well,
look at it.
when we have our Kosher Fest shows, maybe we could have an audience and we can hand out the food.
I'm not sure people would like that over here. That's all.
With a number of teenagers, they would not have any complaints. But one of the other major changes in the past, the Cub program and the Boy Scout program, there wasn't as much interaction until the boys were in what's called Webelos, the fourth and fifth graders. Now they're designing it to try to create more interaction with a Boy Scout troop right from the beginning, because the idea is get them involved, get them seeing what the Boy Scouts are doing, and the better chance they are that they'll start from Tiger and go on up to Eagle.
And it also eliminates that separation point. So
Right.
now you're not a Boy Scout or a Cub Scout, you're a Scout.
Yeah. They used to have separate oaths and laws that the boys would learn. Now it's just the Boy Scout law and the Boy Scout oath that people have heard, the 12 points and so forth. So now they learn it from the very beginning.
How has technology changed what you do? For example, I always think of the Scouts as, you take wood and you learn how to whittle wood to make a point, to campfire, and then
We're
you
still
take the
doing that.
sticks and you rub them together. But, like I said, why don't you Skype them in, how has technology changed where you can, for better or for worse, just how it's changed? Has it changed at all? You still tie a knot by yourself, you still
The skills,
start fires by yourself.
the skills that you learn in general don't change. Maybe how you interact and communicate with the Scouts and the parents obviously has changed. A lot more email, more texting. Some units go to Twitter and other social media.
You haven't yet.
Not Twitter. We do have a Facebook page that we utilize to some degree. Probably need to hone it to a bit
Okay.
more. This may end up on that link to the YouTube. Will end up on that Facebook page, given that we have permission to do that.
Yes, you do. You can.
But
Yes. No, what I'm saying is that so that's good that you have Facebook and LinkedIn or other social media aspects that you can stay in touch and make it more user friendly,
Maybe
even
a
for the
badge
people,
use a computer. Or
even
something.
for people who are
There-
who are further away, like you were saying before, Adam. It takes time. But what I was wondering about is that I guess if you want someone to build a website, make sure they're under 15 years old, and they really get into it. So maybe as a project for the Scouts? I mean, maybe building a website? I mean, is that something?
There are a lot of scouting technology advancements.
There are.
Oh, yeah.
There's computers, there's programming, there's photography, electronics.
There is a big
Automotive.
STEM thrust in scouting.
Which is science, technology, engineering, and math.
Yep.
Yes.
Now, there should be STEAM, where they should have arts in the middle of that.
There's still, well, that's still there. That's been there. You know,
Because in the arts, you have science and technology and engineering and math in the arts, so it really should be incorporated. I've been an advocate for that for a while, so that's my own little pet peeve.
But what you can work on and learn has evolved. You know, when I was a scout, there was the atomic energy merit badge. Now it's called nuclear science. But in addition, now you've got things like geocaching.
Geocaching?
Geocaching. If you're not familiar with it, the short answer to that is a high-tech treasure hunt.
Okay. So geo means for geotherm or
Geo
geography?
as in like Earth.
Earth.
Cache as in like CACHE as a treasure, a trove,
Okay.
a box.
You use your GPS to go hunt down something.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
There's robotics. There's a whole bunch. You know, they've revamped the. It's no longer computers. They've now got programming, and can't recall what they split it into, but it evolves.
Yeah.
Along with that, you still have there is actually an arts merit badge. There's wood carving, leatherworking, photography.
I remember the lanyards, that they had to make lanyards. You know, that's when Radio
That's-
Shack was Tandy.
Yes.
That's probably part of the
Goes way
that's
back.
part of the leatherworking merit badge. The way I always when a scout says, "Well, what can I learn, or what can I get a merit badge in?" and I said, "What are you interested in, or what do you want to learn more about?" And that's really what things like the merit badges are
Yeah,
about.
but when I was 7 years old, I didn't know what I wanted to learn more
well, that's
about.
Boy Scouts. The Cub Scouts
Yeah.
is
Cub Scouts is a lot more structured, a lot more organized from the what you can do.
See, what I wanted to learn more about was how to get out of school early.
Yeah.
And I got out of school at 16 when I went to college at UAlbany at 16. So I
Okay.
learned how to get out of school early. So, but that was, you know, I accelerated, you know. So that was part of my desire. But what do the kids tell you these days? By Cracky,
It's-
what do these kids tell you these
It's
days?
all over the map. Each kid is got their own path that they want to travel, and the scouting program gives them the flexibility. In each stage of scouting, there's some things that you have to learn, and some things that you get some choice on. It's very similar to college with requireds and electives. You know, you have the things that you got to do, and the things that you can select from a wider
But
variety.
back to the Jewish thing, there are Jewish badges, I remember. Aren't there things that are,
there's a number
There
of
are
things.
there are some.
things that you can do,
Emblems,
it's
yes.
very Jewishy, and you can get a badge for,
Through the Jewish Committee on Scouting, which is, I'm not gonna, it's a related group, but it's not it's not like being part of the troop. You can earn emblems. All the religions typically have some sort of religious emblem, but the Jewish Committee on Scouting has different religious emblems that the boys can earn, and there's different ones for age-appropriate levels. Anywhere from the Maccabee, which is the youngest kids, and it's very, very basic kind of information about that helps them research and learn a bit more about being Jewish. All the way up to the highest one for the youth is called Eitz Chaim for the Boy Scouts, which gets very involved. They have to get very involved in working with the synagogue or other organizations, and almost to like an Eagle Project level work. But you know, again, as I said, it gives them an opportunity to explore another aspect of themselves, and from their religious point of view. And
It's always catered to the individual, meaning,
Right.
you
What
know.
is it? I mean, you should have been showing me the badge, but I'm sure that our viewers cannot see it.
So-
I can't see it.
So this
Hey,
is actually an adult leadership Jewish emblem. It's the Chai.
Okay.
And that's actually a Northeast Regional Jewish Committee on Scouting exclusive award. It's a service
Congratulations, Jesse.
It's a service recognition award.
And what'd you have to do for that?
I had to contribute to the improvement and continuation of the Jewish Scouting program.
So not financial contribution. You
No,
had to do
I put in the time and
sweat.
effort.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay.
For at least 2 years.
Wow, that's great. Now, there's apparently the Chabad in New York City sponsors a lot of the scouting. Do you know about that, or?
There are obviously a number of Jewish units down in New York City.
Yeah.
I don't know all their specific activities.
And there's the Girl Scouts, Jewish Girl Scouts also down there. Did you ever try to do it, get someone involved with the Jewish Girl Scouts? Not you, but I mean, find someone, maybe your wife or someone, to do what you're doing. Hey, it's good enough for you guys to do it. and
One
then-
of the members of our pack and troop actually does run a Jewish Girl Scout group.
Locally?
Yes.
Oh, I got to find out more about that from you.
Yep.
I didn't know. Is that just starting? Is that just
No, it's been around for
Like 2 years
a couple
now.
years.
a couple of years? Okay. Because
Now
there's this one woman, Shayna Davis, a second grader at Manhattan Day School. She says what she enjoys most is making friends, working together, and thinking creatively at twice monthly troop meetings. She says, I'm learning about good Jewish deeds, and they are important to me as a Jewish girl. So, it gets, and then on the website, you see that the National Jewish, your National Jewish organization has the various parshas that they analyze, and they talk about how the parsha relates to scouting.
There is a group on, I guess since it's the older guy, typically the older guys, I guess, who started this, there is a Yahoo group, and there's one gentleman who posts to the Yahoo group every week a Devar Torah.
Allen something, or Nelson Block? I
No,
don't know.
it's Nelson. Yeah.
Nelson Block?
Yeah, and
So there's
unfortunately, I
this-
can't remember the Hebrew term he uses, but he calls it the path of the scout.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times they'll take the parsha and then relate it to some aspect of scouting and
Yeah.
something that we're doing.
And do you pass that along to your scouts, the people in your troops? Do you?
At times,
You
yeah,
do
we,
that,
and
yeah?
we certainly encourage them to sign up for the Yahoo group so that they can
Get it on their own.
How many with numbers, how many Jewish scouts would you think, I guess even in the Northeast, do you get together when you're the leadership, and how many boys are you really dealing with? Must be a lot in New York City.
Well, that's a harder
Because you
question
don't
to
know.
answer because our unit is all Jewish, but there's still a
Right.
lot of Jewish scouts who
Right.
belong to other units
Yeah,
within
so it's-
within the council. The troop, when it goes to goes to camp in the summer, we've been going to a camp where they have for the first 2 weeks kosher food as well as it's Shomer Shabbat. And represented there, and this is just a few troops. Again, you're looking at probably 60 to 75
That's a
boys
lot,
at
that's a lot.
any given time.
So that's a lot.
Actually, a lot of them come from his
Yeah.
his old troop. It's actually his old scoutmaster who
In
spearheaded
Massachusetts.
Yes.
Okay, so in the last few minutes, I'm not going to embellish on it or whatever. How many Boy Scouts do you have?
We unfortunately right now we only have 7,
And how many Cub Scouts do you have?
only about 5. Right?
Yeah, about 5.
Okay, and there are ways of growing that. So,
This is one of
sure,
them.
I wish you.
Said, let everybody know that there is, because
Right.
it's important, because like you say, boys maybe go into, You know, they don't even think that, well, you have to be a Jewish person, but you can grow as a Jewish Boy Scout, and that's important.
And there's a lot of life skills that you learn as a scout. You know, I look at it like handwriting these days. You know, a lot of people are against learning handwriting in elementary school. And, you know, if nothing else, it's teaching children hand-eye coordination. So it's still a useful thing to learn, even if you never get good at it,
Yes.
but it's still something that they should be learning. And, you know, scouting teaches a lot of really good life lessons, and it teaches you how to be a good person. And it's very well aligned with a lot of Jewish philosophy as well.
All right, excellent. You're doing that. We're out of time, but you're doing great work over here, Adam and Jesse, and continue good work. And like Mark says, to expand and be successful and do it with good health.
Adam, Jesse, much success, continued success to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.